in the Dire stream to try to figure out if they're going to be able to move forward. The first one going to be against Vici. My name's Rich. I'm going to be your host. I'm joined by Dota legend AUI and Jenkins.
I thought you were going to say Dota legend Jenkins Dota.
That's what I thought was happening too.
But he didn't do that, did he?
Yeah, that was really weird. That wasn't good of him.
Very strange. Can you do that again?
My name's... I'm joking. Oh, man. I've been watching a lot of this.
It's hard to say Dota legend Jenkins.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't roll off.
I can't even remember my name right now. I am pretty upset with you, though, AUI. I don't think you got the memo.
What was the memo?
It's supposed to be a Catboy panel.
A what?
A Catboy panel.
A cat? Oh, yeah.
Catboy. You have a problem with the boy part, not the cat part.
Yeah, just... Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Sorry. I didn't get the memo. I would have done it, honestly.
We can correct it mid-series.
I'll get it for next one.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what it takes. We can fix it mid-series. So let's talk about what we're expecting to see, us cat boys, what we're expecting to see when we actually do get into the next series, because it's been an interesting day of Dota already. And I feel like, AUI, I'm excited to talk to you about this and get your perspective, because we're seeing best of twos that feel a little bit different than what you would normally expect. It's like one team absolutely destroying a squad and then getting destroyed subsequently. We've seen that on this stream today. We've seen it throughout the event. We've seen a whole bunch of draws across the board. Do you think that this is coming from the new format, or do you think something else is at play in the wild card?
I think it's a bit of a mixture of both. I think the two biggest factors are... the two biggest factors are these regions haven't played each other, and when you haven't played each other, you don't know what heroes are actually better than others. So you're coming at each other with opposing ideas, and when one team has a better draft, it also often looks like a stomp, even if their skill level is really close.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes at creation, their C region meta is better for this draft, and another time the Chinese meta is better, and that ends up in a 1-1.
And I think also, like, the previous major and just DPC in general, at least to me, has proven that all of the regions are fairly close in terms of skill,
sure.
and the tier 2 teams and the tier 1 teams are not that far apart anymore. Everybody knows to stand on high grounds, everybody knows to place wards in team fights, and these kind of like things that weren't fundamentals before, but they've become fundamentals. So there's not that much left in Dota to discover other than like the flavor. And so when you have teams like Gambit picking like Lorne off this like mid morphling, you know, every single game, you have like these little flavors. It can result in these stomps where it's like you just have this very weird strat coming from this team nobody's really used to dealing with.
For sure. It's pretty high percentage, like when you're playing with so many regions, that there's just a strat you don't understand.
Yeah.
Or they play it poorly in your region. Like, this is our reaction. We've beaten it before in scrims, and they break it out and they're like, they're doing that thing that we just beat twice, and we know how to counter it. And both teams are expected to win, but one of them is right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, kind of exactly what you said, AUI, is going to be, it's going to be turned on its head here when we have teams like IG and Vici playing against each other. We can actually look at some of the head-to-heads from past results between these two teams, and then we can get into the draft and see what is actually going to happen. Now, keep in mind, if you are just tuning in, we're actually already in the draft. So we're going to be jumping into the draft right now. We'll see what they have in store for us. It's pretty standard Nyx and Mars, but when we actually start to look at where we're at, it is getting down to the wire. We might have some tiebreakers on our hands.
He needs to make sure that they do not
series.
let up at this point, Jenkins.
Yeah, definitely. And Vici, you know, they've played a lot more series, but they are at the top of the wild cards right now. They're looking really strong. I think everybody kind of expected them to be the strongest team coming into this. I did hear from Tsunami though that apparently in casting China, they don't look too highly upon what's happening in I-League, just because people are kind of testing out strats there. It's not DPC, so they're kind of treating it as like almost scrims to some degree. But Vici in I-League was looking incredibly good compared to the other teams. So for me, that's a big indicator. But apparently, according to the China talent, like they don't look too highly.
Yeah, I feel like I-League's like college, right? That's just time to experiment. But when we look at this Ember, why do you think we're seeing the Ember ban here?
Emo just won like 3 games on it, I think. 2 or 3 at least. Like, I just saw him, he's playing Ember with a lot of confidence. He just goes in and he just destroys fights. I think a lot of tournaments, like, you don't have that much information on the teams. They probably knew that they were going to face off each other in the wildcard, so even though they're both Chinese teams, they probably didn't scrim. So all you have to go off is like the previous 3 or 4 games that the team has played. He's winning Ember? Okay, let's just ban it. See what else they like. Make them show something.
do this, but I want to like I want to sit here and justify the Spirit Heroes mid for a second. I feel like they're coming back. Not that they were super gone by any means, but I feel like they're coming back in a big way because a lot of these offlaners are. You have these kind of do-nothing heroes. These heroes that don't really run around and skirmish. You have heroes like Broodmother, Necrophos, which is huge in pubs and has a super high win rate, was super valid during DPC. We're not seeing too much in the wild cards. But there are a lot of these offlaners, Bristleback another one, they just kind of sit in lanes, and they'll frontline, and they'll be tanky, and they want to fight, but they're not the hero that's going to go in and actually actively get stuff done. And so laners that do that, especially something like an Ember Spirit, which I think has gotten buffed tremendously. Darkseer is another one of these heroes. It's a +1, right?
That makes a lot of sense. Like these offlaners, they're tanky, they're good fighters, but they don't start the fight with you, right? So like the Spirits, they're traditionally to back you up. They will win you any fight. They'll start it, and you know your offlaner might come in and finish it.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. AA as well has just been super popular to open up in a lot of the drafts that we've seen so far in Wildcard.
I think that hero's the most picked hero this tournament so far. It has a pretty decent win rate. That hero just, if you pick it early in the draft, it just becomes incredibly hard to draft against. I see AA, I don't want to pick half the carries, I don't want to pick half the offlaners.
Yeah,
I think the 2 picks they had against it, I think they're pretty good so far versus AA, but he's still limiting your other 3 heroes. It's a really, like, you can't see it, but it's really understated and important.
One thing that I noticed with a lot of the teams in the wild card, other than like the Nigmas, the Vichis, like the kind of, I suppose, upper echelon teams, there's a lot of flavor getting picked. There's a lot of, I'm very good at this hero, and so I'm going to play it in every single game. But there's sometimes lacking of synergy. Sometimes there's just not some wombo combo, and then in the late game we have what happened in the I think it was Nigma Gambit or something. I think it was Nigma Gambit.
You're saying this is across the board, right?
I think across the board in the wild card there's a lot of non-synergy being picked for whatever reason.
Just picking comfort.
It's just a lot of picking comfort, yeah, which I suppose it makes,
like, you know, you pick a Void, you don't have as much chrono damage as you would expect. You pick, you know, I think Nigma picked Darkseid.
Yeah.
They didn't have any stuns with it at all.
It's a little weird. It's a little strange, and that's a big reason that I really love this Ancient Apparition, because it does feel like there are a lot of strong meta heroes that combo incredibly well with it. So not only are you blocking out like 50% of the hero pool with the pick, you're also comboing with the other 50% of the hero pool.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is I mean,
it's literally anything with a stun.
Anything with a stun.
Anything with a stun.
Yeah, and a little bit of damage, and it feels like you just insta-kill somebody with the AA ult. I was playing Bristle the other day in some pub, and I was most farms super tanky. The guy would ult me, and I would just die. Just like pathetic Crystal Maiden spells and stuff, because they put you to that threshold, which is huge, like 15%. It does a huge amount of damage as well. You don't have your regen, and you just pop. You're gone like that.
Yeah, it's definitely been most popular kid at the party.
Yeah. And you see Vici, they're banning out the best melee heroes with Darkseer. I think generally when you want to play with Darkseer, you actually want to bring your 5 heroes together really early, and you want to melee carry. You just Iron Shell. It reminds me sort of like the old MVP. You would have like 4 of them, the Darkseer, and Kyo would just play some PA, and they would just run at you as soon as they hit like level 7 Darkseer.
Right, like some hero combo with it in the laning stage, but then some carry to actually use the surge and
the thing is,
help from the Iron
Darkseer is a carry hero.
Yep.
Like if that hero has good lane, he will 1v5 the game. It doesn't matter what your carry is. You'll do all the damage for the carry. You'll control the team fights. You'll do everything. And I think they're also banning for that. Maybe a bit like well, they're not actually. I'm just completely wrong here. But usually you don't want Darkseer to have a bad lane.
Yeah. The new wall seems incredibly, I don't want to say underrated, because I feel like everybody looks at it in team fights. It's like, wow, that's really good. But I think people don't talk about the wall enough.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's really disruptive in fights, legitimately. Like, you can't walk into fights against wall. You're just slowed for a second. You walk out of it, you're still slowed for 0.5 seconds.
Jenkins, why would they ban for Darkseer when the enemies pick their carry Void? Like, what am I doing?
That's true. That's true.
This is very bad.
Yeah.
Line pick, very good. Can actually kill the Faceless Void. I think they're looking like, when you play against AA, it's always going to be a battle of burst. Like, both teams want to kill one hero because one hero is an AA, and you don't want to like go into a sustained fight without bursting another hero. Because if you play against AA, they burst one of your heroes. You try to take a sustained fight. You're fighting 4v5 for an extended period of time. That's usually not going to go well. You can see they pick like Clockwork. He's going to get in on a squish hero, and they'll have like an Iron Shell and a lot of damage coming with a finger to just back him up.
Yeah, you're just entering the fight with less to work with.
And then, rough.
Yeah, have fun. You can dance as long as you want, but you already left one shoe on
of course,
the
like,
actually, it's funny you speak about dancing too, because I feel like this Void hero, I don't know, correct me if you guys think I'm wrong, but I think this hero in the late game is the single best hero at playing long fights. Like, you get an Ags, you get the new Ag Shard, you're jumping in, you're jumping out. I think you said he has, like, the most effective HP of any hero in the game when you get to that late game.
Yeah, he's really strong.
It seems like if you are taking long engagements against Void, that might work for, like, mid-game, but the later the game goes, that's going to start falling off because he is the single best hero at doing that. So picking a line that can just insta-kill somebody and be like, okay, fight's over, you can no longer fight. That is awesome. That means you're not just going to insta-lose the game when you go to the late game.
Why Drow here?
And Drow's traditionally been pretty good versus Faceless Void. It's just a carry with a silence and no cooldowns versus a long cooldown.
Yeah.
Void's problem is that he doesn't have any damage early on. Like Jenkins was mentioning that as the game goes later, like Faceless Void is really good taking these long fights. It's both because he's like jumping in and out, but also because he just chronospheres and bursts on the target in the late game.
Sure.
And then you're taking a long fight with a hero advantage. Drow Ranger sort of lets you not let Void reach that stage. You push the towers, you stand really spread out because you're a Drow Ranger and you'll position well, and Void can't get a chrono off. Even if he does hit you with a chrono, you're just like, I'm Drow Ranger, I'm gonna go kill Roshan now. You have no ultimate.
Wait, would you say the Drow lets you play fast Dota?
I don't know what that means. Drow lets you kill some towers. I actually do hate
really
the fast terminology. It means nothing. Everyone says it. I hear he's really fast right now. Yeah, he's clicking his spells quickly.
They're 5-manning versus 5-manning mid.
It's so fast. Oh, I'm European. I'm so fast. sorry.
Wait, no, we can flame Europeans.
We can.
It's China.
You know why we can flame Europeans?
Why?
Because they bombed the last major.
That's true. That is how it works.
When they prove us wrong, then we can't flame them again.
Yeah, we'll see.
Trust me. We can flame anyone, whatever we want. That's the best part. Being an analyst and not being
anyone.
A player. Yeah, you just say whatever you want. Nobody's gonna stop you.
Yeah.
Have fun. Enjoy the seat.
Like, for instance, I think Doom is a completely festered hero. I just think not good.
Weren't you told?
He literally just told me that Doom is like one of the best heroes he thinks in the tournament.
He's not allowed to use the word festered.
He's not allowed to use fester.
No.
Yeah.
Why would you not be allowed to say fester?
I think Kyle's on the other panel though, so
He can't hear you.
whatever.
I don't know where Kyle is.
Anyway, yeah, no, I think Doom is actually one of the best heroes in the game. He's real solid.
And Doom versus Drow, it's a weird matchup. I guess it's a lot better for Doom now because you actually have some base armor. Before Drow would just dump
get shredded. Yeah,
he would just die.
That's the worst.
Doom's one of, like Drow's a hero. Like if they can run in on you, of course, like you're gonna lose your ultimate. It's gonna be hard for you. They do have some pretty good protection for him. They have the line disables, and you just have vacuum wall with a clockwork. But I think for the mid hero, they should look for something that like goes into engage on Vici so that Drow can like hit safely from far. I prefer a melee hero. Honestly, I'm terrible at like thinking about heroes with the hero list in front of me because I've never had to play Dota without a hero list. But yeah,
that's why I have my phone right here.
That's really smart.
Secretly,
I should do that.
It's hidden by the UI actually.
5 seconds.
Yeah, this is actually. I'm just remembering now. Like, there's a while where the Faceless Void was considered to be a counter to Drow.
Really?
I think it was like after they had just changed Time Walk to be this like backtrack, and they added these tags.
You just sustained him, or
yeah, you just stay on top of the Drow. Like, remember people were going for the Heaven's Halberd build. I can
see that actually. That
it was like I am Void. I have 3,500 HP. I'm just gonna stay on your Drow.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because Drow, like, she does a lot of damage, but if you do a lot of damage, like if you take too long to kill a target, eventually they're gonna move in on you, right? It's the same thing. Like this concept of like if you start the fight, you need to burst a hero because if you have 5 heroes alive, it's very easy to like move forward and backwards in fights. You just are all coordinated. You'll cover for each other.
Yeah.
The moment it starts to break down, like that's actually when Drow excels. The less heroes are in the fights, then you don't have a way to get on top of her.
Yeah, exactly. She literally just like you slowly died her. She's like a blender. It's very sad.
And they do have heroes to get on top of her, like with the same line of thought. Like if the Void goes in at the same time as Ursula and Doom, you do have like some counterplay of Cog to a Vacuum, but that's a lot of beefy boys.
I mean, I could see these heroes though, like these exact heroes that want to get in there. Once they get in, they can't really get out against the Drow. So if Vici don't have decent lanes and decent early game, this Drow could look like the single best pick ever. Because all of their heroes are very committal. Void jumps in, if he gets silenced, doesn't get his chrono off. If Earth Spirit rolls in, if Doom like jumps in and blinks in, uses his Scorched Earth, they could all just feed and look pathetic. And Drow can actually do enough damage to tear through all of their armor.
And they're committing with the TA. This is a very like all jump in at the same time and get on top of you.
And they've got the counter pick.
All right, Razor. That lane is like...
It's a weird lane, actually.
It's good for Razor, but it's like less good than you think it would be.
People do the max meld build, right? Again,
oh, really?
Yeah, at least a couple points in meld.
Okay. Yeah, no, it does a lot of damage, but even if you just have to jungle from like level 2 or 3 on TA, you're not feeling that bad.
Yeah, and then when you have the traps, you can just trap.
I mean, we'll probably see like Like, IG were probably very good at dealing with it. You know, you'll bring the Clockwork over early and not let TA do anything.
Yeah. I really like this Razor just because the Drow feels like a really weird surge target. Like, you don't really want to, unless it's one of those situations where Vici has completely committed and then they're just, you know, you're chasing after, the Drow's slowing people, but like the fight is already over. But Razor can be surged at the start of the fight, and he's scary.
Yeah, it's one of the heroes, like, you think you need a melee hero with Dark Tier, but there are some range heroes that use it perfectly well. Like, even I
basically a melee hero.
He basically is a melee hero. Also, I've seen some change suggestions like make Razor a melee hero. It's like, okay,
yeah,
he'd be completely busted.
That would be nuts.
That would be crazy.
Nuts.
Look at this split. It's not very often that we see chat completely split when it comes to these votes. For the most part, we've just seen like 90% in favor of one.
In favor of Enigma.
Yeah. Like, you know, Enigma got 90% favor.
And then it's wrong, and then they tie.
But no, chat was right once, which means chat was right.
True.
You have to start thinking like chat because they are never wrong. But in this, we have a very, very interesting lineup for both of these squads. Excited to see what happens. Chat's completely split. Let's see who's going to be able to take it. IG or Vici, ready to get started.
I sense a connection between us.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Suns fan here with Cinderman, the superhero of the AniMajor. I believe that's the character they chose for you.
The Cinderman.
You're doing a great job. It's kind of a meld of cultures, if you will. It's good stuff, Cinder. You're doing a great job. I just want to let you know that you're a very good friend, and I think you're terrific at everything you do.
Thank you.
We have IG.
I have no idea what to say to that whatsoever.
I understand that you don't have human emotions, so you don't know how to reciprocate. I totally get it.
No, I have human emotions, and it didn't sound genuine. So
well, nothing sounds genuine to a robot because you have to. Again, we have to go through the patch notes.
Can you say it again in binary, please? All right, let's have a look at the game. This is Vici Gaming's last game, just to give a little bit of a background on this one. Vici Gaming are currently top of the standings, but they've also played 4 series. They have 1 win and 3 draws. Yep. Second place currently is Execration with 4 draws. But a lot of games still to be played. IG have 1 win, 1 draw, meaning that if they could just win 2 out of their next 4 games, they would be in the same standings as Vici are currently. In other words, if IG win the series, they're looking really, really good to go through. If they lose, it's not the end of the world. If they tie, that's probably a good result for them, actually. It's good enough, at least for now, based on how we've seen the other series go and like the overall power rankings that I would assign the teams right now. As far as the drafts go, though, this IG one is pretty funky, I think. This is very different. They have triple ranged hero with Darkseer, like the panel talked about. The only really natural angel carrier is the Clockwork, whereas Vici Gaming, to me, have a lot of the really strong meta heroes. They have this TA, they have Void AA, Earth Spirit plus Doom, which might not sound the greatest, but it kind of covers the bases of what Void and TA don't have, which is they want someone to, you know, start the fight, commit in. So to me, Vici Gaming's lineup way more well-rounded. That doesn't mean IG can't win the game or that I don't like what they have. It's just, it's less obvious.
Do you think they have to play, from IG's perspective, they have to play with a little faster pace because it is a Drow? Obviously, you can take towers relatively early. Razor's almost like this anti-carry as it looks like 11 end up getting first blooded by Super there. That was not expected.
So remember last game when I talked about how you can play 5 Clock together with Gyro? It actually works really well with Drow too. So I am a fan of Clockwork 5, but I just think you kind of have to play with a ranged carry. And this one is one of the great ones that you can play. So good start for IG down here, obviously. Do they need to play fast? I'm not so sure. I think their ease of execution, if you want to call it that, for IG, it's less easy to set up the fights correctly because your lineup relies more on counterplay than engaging. You have the Clockwork. Oh, JT, good damage here. They're not going to get a kill. But you only really have one hero that goes in front, which is the Clockwork. He can start the fight, and then the question is, can this ranged artillery that comes behind find the kills before you get rolled on by Earth Spirit, before you get doomed, before you get chronoed? So I think Gust is a really key ability this game, and Flyfly has to have an outstanding performance to really showcase what this draft is all about.
Super's going to get gone on. He's actually stuck between creeps now. A couple more right clicks will do it. PYW was gonna, no, he's not gonna go any further. It looks like Super just gonna salve away. But that's the second salve he's used so far. And I mean, the waves are being cut in a very awkward way, so Drow's kind of farming on the other side of his tower, and
Yeah.
not the most typical laning stage so far.
Earthspirit Doom love that this lane's in this position. Oh, Flapfly's in trouble.
Yeah, he's taking quite a bit of damage.
Probably gonna live.
Nice blocks by Super with the battery assault as well. Multi-shot to follow from Flyfly. He's going to try to wrap around the other side of the tree line to get cover with the tier 1 tower. He'll be successful. And, I mean, looking at his CS, he is struggling because of what Vichi's doing right now.
Yeah, so even though they don't find the kills, when you play these double melee lanes into something like Drow, you really want the wave to not be in the tower, right? Because this is where you can dive and not take the tower hits consistently. So having that wave placed down there gives them an opportunity to just go like they did, and probably ended up costing Drow like a 4 CS there. But they... in towers, you lost last hits while they were fighting. So,
and we talked about this the last time we cast them, which was the one series they've had so far where Super played Disruptor twice. So he has 2 heroes now, as Flyfly's going to get chased here, but Super's doing his best to try to mitigate as much damage as possible, but Flyfly just needs one,
double kill.
Able to take him out along with Super. So this lane has quickly become an absolute disaster for IG. I was gonna. It's a good thing I didn't say anything because it would be a caster curse, but now I can do it post-mortem. Super's been pretty impressive, actually, from the 2 games that we've seen so far.
yeah, I don't know why people went in with low expectations. I mean,
That is not an expected kill whatsoever. As DY can't even stick around to kill Kaka because he's getting chased by JT. You talked about not having an Iron Shell carry. Well, Darkseer can put it on himself.
yeah, you know what? They had it on Lion too.
That's true.
They literally meleeed them with Lion. I like it. It worked very well there. Obviously, Flyfly's
that's huge because he's level 3 only.
Cannot die again.
God, he does hit both. They're gonna get this. My goodness.
Oh boy.
Old 11 with 2 kills now in the position 1 Drow. I believe TP back there, so we'll have to take the walk of shame. I mean, what do you do with Drow when you get dumpstered in lane like this?
You can't really jungle. She's just way too slow. Yeah, that's rough. That's really the biggest story of the game. Yeah, you get these kills top, but I would definitely say Vici Gaming in a comfortable position just based on game plan, right? We were talking about how crucial Drow is going to be. If you don't have any farm on Drow, she is very, very irrelevant in a game like this. She's just going to get overwhelmed.
I mean, Super is going to be out leveling him here in a minute.
Yeah.
He has to walk all the way back. Getting pressured a bit by Poyoyo. As Super, they know they doesn't have a TP on the Drow, so this will be an easy cleanup for them. Once that spells back up, as Flyfly still no boots, obviously. I mean, it's still really early, but
level 3 Drow against level 5 Doom.
Yeah.
With an Earth Spirit backing him up. He's going to salve up next. Scorched Earth is probably going to be a dive again. And what Clockwork can offer in a lane like this is that he can be like a wall, right? He's supposed to cover the Drow from getting gone on by these brutes. The problem is they're just too strong. They're just killing the Clockwork, actually. And maybe IG have to look for a possible Lion rotation to kind of solve this problem. I don't see things getting much better for Flyfly at this rate.
is there any consideration for like swapping lanes? I mean, this is a lane that like Darkseer would go again.
Great
Initiation on the Flyfly. Cogs is only going to trap old 11 inside, so Flyfly with the guts should survive. Might be able to turn this around actually. There's going to be TP support in the form of Razor, and the multi-shot not quite enough to kill off PYW, but the plasma field is there, so Emo, there's a rotation they needed.
Yeah. Worth mentioning as well, by the way, this is a very un-emo hero for this tournament so far. He's been primarily playing these like high-tempo movement heroes like Void Spirit, Ember Spirit.
We saw Magnus as well.
Yeah, he had a Magnus too, like heroes that have stun or some sort of catch and just really go in and burst. Razor is quite different.
And he's actually sticking around to potentially get a kill on the Doom Ram. We see Darkseer die in the top lane, so it's going to be a trade across the map. But Emo getting turned around by PYW. The tower is doing a ton of damage. They will find the trade. PYW is going to be pretty happy with that exchange.
God, he's level 5.5, minute 6.
Yeah, and Flyfly's still 4.
Oh. Like, both Doom and Earth Spirit are going to hit level 6 before any of the bottom heroes do,
and then,
or
like,
IG.
You know they're coming into the lane with Doom soon, like the actual spell, that is.
Yeah.
Then what do you do?
Oh,
I actually don't know what the pressure is here. Super.
Oh, he rolled a little bit too early, got hit by the battery.
And now he can't really get away, for the time being at least. Super doing a nice job of kiting a bit with that battery assault. Flyfly. See the Gus now onto 2. Old 11 wants to chase, but there's more TPs coming in. This time, Kaka, level 5. PYW taking a nice path. He should be able to survive as a result. Yeah, there was no consideration, I guess, for Drow to just switch lanes? Like, is that just, I mean, that obviously not a great matchup either.
Where do you go?
Far behind, but...
You get shredded by TA in mid. You're against a Void that has Chrono top. I just think, if anything, if they wanted to solve this earlier, I think they would have had to leave Darkseer on an island and bring Lion bottom on, like, level 3. But it doesn't feel good to do that. But in hindsight, it might have been the best choice, because they could have gotten counter kills. Like, the Doom and Earthspirit were diving pretty relentlessly behind the tower, and that's where Lion can really shine with a rotation, but didn't come in.
Well, Doom does have his ultimate now, and it's not going to be a surprise. They can plainly see that here. But they are, I mean, there's 3 members of IG in this bottom lane, so they're expending quite a few resources just to try to get Drow back in the game, which, you know, leaves the other lanes kind of open for now.
Yeah.
They actually forced to go into the jungle knowing that Doom's ultimate is up.
He's 6 now. Now he can jungle, so it's okay. Worth noting, by the way, in the mid lane, the Razor was obviously the last pick of the draft overall. He is behind on net worth against TA minute 8 by 400. He had to rotate bottom to help.
Yeah.
TA has just been completely free farming jungle as well, and will be ramping up fast. And we saw Ori yesterday on, I believe it was against Secret. Stellar TA performance. It's a very powerful hero this patch. I'm surprised they got it last pick. It's been banned first phase in some of the series we've seen so far.
I mean, what do you think of Razor in this game? Like, if you go to the mid to late game against TA wants to be kind of in front, even though it's a ranged hero. Like Void, I mean, we memed about it. The Shard is actually probably really good against Razor. You time walk out of the static blink and then you just go back, reverse time walk. That seems like a great counter.
It's actually very good against that hero. You're right.
I mean, but it's still kind of hard to get a static link on Void in general, because typically he'll be time walking in just to Chrono, right? So. Yep. Struggling to see like where this Razor, how this Razor makes sense.
He's gonna link the TA, right? That's gotta be it.
Yeah, it's gotta be TA.
But I think
she's gonna just flash farm the jungle, right?
Right, and a really big part of the reason they picked the Razor has to have been for the laning matchup, right? I get you have the Drow on your team as well as Razor here, but I think you probably just. If you picked it specifically to shut down TA, you failed, right? Like, if that was the reason, then there were probably other heroes Emo could have grabbed that could have had a similar outcome, but then offered more of what the team might have wanted in terms of, like, frontlining or catch or team fight, where Razor is very limited. I guess part of the reason they liked it, too, is that Razor traditional is a good matchup against Doom. You cast your spells, and then if you get doomed, you can stand your ground and just fight with your ulti running and a link running. That might have been a really big part of the consideration, but yeah, I'm not fully sold, especially not after seeing this early laning stage. I fear for IG that they need some really good counterplays so they don't just flat out get overrun.
Yeah, we see a misroll there, but TP support coming in for IG as well. I mean, that's the other thing about Razor is not, and TA is just this hero that snowballs out of control once you start getting that farm. Razor doesn't really have a comeback mechanic. He just wants to fight for the most part. Wants to get tanky and fight.
But a smoke move to top.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the build on TA is for the Chinese teams, but I know in NA at least we see a lot of Aghanim Scepter actually, which we'll talk about in a moment because it is such a cool item.
I think they generally use this, so he is in trouble.
Pick that right in. And yeah, that'd be an easy kill for Kaka, first stack of the game, and a much needed kill, which of course when you have a Drow on the team, that typically power when you're this close, along with that siege. So that's the timing there.
It's a good, very, very good pick. This is the perfect timing. Ideally, Void isn't there anymore. Usually you will have rotated off of the safe lane at minute 10 because of this exact play where you kill the safe lane at minute 10 and use the siege creep to take the tower. A lot of the times the carry will either be in the jungle or have rotated to the enemy safe lane to take that tower, which is where Old 11 is currently getting the job done. So I want to chalk it up to being a little bit of a mistake on Pio's part, but
is a great conductor.
They're still in a very comfortable position regardless of that one death.
AA does have the ultimate now, and I mean that's the other thing about IG. They don't really have crazy team fight either. You got the hookshot initiation. It feels like Darkseer is basically your biggest team fighter on top of the Ice Blast. And then on the other side for Vici, they have obviously Chrono. I talked about the Ice Blast with the initiation from Earth Spirit, but I don't know. IG's. I mean, I know it's not all about team fight versus team fight, but that is one thing that they're definitely lacking.
If you're not a simple rule of thumb, Dota isn't this easy, right? But let's say you have weak team fight. Usually what your lineup wants to do is either it wants to farm or it wants to skirmish. But I'm not... Uh-oh.
Yeah, the roll in. A blast is coming.
Not connected. He has haste.
Absolutely not. But Emo, he's going to turn this around. He has a static link applied to TA, who has the haste. He's able to get this kill on the PYW pretty easily. The Chrono they will get the Razor and the Lion. Actually, it's on 4. Holy jeez, on the bottom side of that as well. That might be the best level 1 Chrono I've seen in quite some time. That's 4 kills, and all they lose is the Earth Spirit.
It's disgusting. That was such a good Chrono. I think he got it on 3, and I think Drow walked into it by mistake.
That counts as 4.
Yeah, I mean, that was really, really great placement. It's always impressive. I mean, it's one thing how many people you get in the Chrono, right? When you get all 3 of them in the periphery, that means it's like really good spell casting. If they're close together, it's easy, right? Like getting a 3-man Chrono, people are on top of each other, but that had to be placed really narrowly. If he misses it by a little bit, he might have missed all 3, right? Like that's how close they were to the edge. So really, really nice coming out of Puyoyo there. And that cements them a 4K gold lead.
Yep, that is pretty monstrous.
How often do you get a 4-man Chrono on Void at 13 minutes? Like, that's very rare.
I mean, we're literally just talking about their team fight potential, and they just showed it right there. Yeah. The fact that 011 on Doom has a Midas, not something you see all too often anymore on Doom. Yeah, they do find the pick-off potentially out of TA, but might be staying alive a little longer. The Melon's going to keep him alive as Kaka does have the Finger of Death, and the Refraction's not going to be enough, so that's the second charge for Mr. Kaka. I mean, both times that they've had these like smoke ganks, they've gotten 2 pretty important kills, both on the Void and the TA.
And the timing of this is immediately, okay, Chrono's down, we're gonna go. They all on TD mid and just smoke right away. And they're going to try to turn this into mid-tier 1. This is a really good response from IG. I don't know if they're going to be able to take the tower, though. I feel like Doom plus Earth Spirit could delay this significantly if they were there just casting their spells, but maybe they're just content to let it go. Super's even confident enough to go in here and look for a successful AA kill.
Yeah, very nicely done. Puyoyo trying to turn this around onto Super in the meantime with the time dilation. And yeah, with old 11 transitioning over, we'll be able to trade that out. So Doom with the Midas. We stopped seeing this for like, I want to say 6 to 8 months, even longer, once that talent got changed around. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, they're already up right now.
I think given the start, I really like it this game because given the start that they had, I think it's very likely that IG can't pressure them enough, right? You look at the lineup you're against, the team fight is relatively weak, where the push and the pressure comes from the Drow, and they know that they destroyed the Drow. So you can kind of... You can reap the benefits of that bottom lane and just build up. And you're also got to feel so confident about late game, right? Like avoid Doom AA late game. It is filthy. And even TA has become a much better late gamer than it used to be because of the talents and the itemization. Generally, the timing that you would consider late game nowadays, like, has moved forward. At this point, late game in Dota is probably 30 minutes, right? That's when a lot of heroes have like 3 or 4 items.
So stop initiation from old 11. That's always a good creep to have, and Flyfly is dead. 5K net worth lead, which again, 15 minutes. I mean, we're doing a bunch of stomps today, it looks like, Cinder, and if this continues on.
Yeah, this is not looking good for IG. Basically, every concern I had for them is what's going on right now. If you don't get off to a good laning stage with a lineup like this, it's often going to be really difficult. Super getting caught out here.
Yeah, well, IG look to be trying to come back into this. They do get the to 2, and Razor definitely going to fall along with JT. And Puyoyo, I mean, he was stuck in the cliff, but it didn't matter.
Yeah.
They got the 3 kills pretty easily, and with that Deso being picked up by the TA, it's an easy Roche.
It's actually, it might not sound like that big of a deal, but it's actually a really nice part of playing TA against Clockwork, that you can sideblade off the cogs. Because usually when you think about it, what Clockwork will do when his team gets initiated on with you with hookshot in and do a defensive cog to try to protect his team. Right. TA is just, like, with this sideblade talent, he was hitting every attack while they were cogged off. So he didn't really care. The Chrono was great once again there.
I mean, this is hilarious.
Oh my god, they're just getting run over, actually.
Yes. The fact that Ori is doing this well, and he's still not even the top net worth on his team.
Yeah.
Doom is out of control. Like,
Midas Devour will do that.
Yeah.
It's not even a Max Devour, by the way. It's only level 3.
It's fine.
Yeah.
He's perfectly fine. Okay, with this kind of a build, like, how long do you keep Hoof Stomp? I feel like most people keep this the entire game. You don't really typically see the right-click Doom anymore with the Wolf and whatnot.
Ice Armor is pretty good this game, but
yeah.
I honestly think this Hoof Stomp, he should just keep it for the rest of the game, probably. I was wondering if he was going to get Ice Armor in lane stage against the Drow lane, but it wasn't necessary. They ended up just playing aggressively instead, and it definitely paid off. Maybe he didn't find an Ice Armor either. I don't know if he was even looking for it. But, yeah. I'm trying to look at this from IG's perspective. Like, what do you do now, right? You have Razor, Drow, 2 ranged cores that do not have items against these monsters that are just going to run at you and smack you down. I feel like farming is not going to work. Like, you're not going to reach the items that you need. So at this point, maybe you've got to try to take advantage of Chrono being on cooldown. I feel like maybe can you even Roche?
I don't know if oversimplifying it, but looking at IG's lineup, it feels like just on the lineup alone, you gotta have better lanes.
Yeah,
like the laning stage has to go better.
I agree. It really is that. It really is that simple. Like, so if you want to break down Dota into like the simple aspects, right? Let's say there's like the laning stage, there's skirmishes, there's team fights, and there's late game and Roche, right? Like all of these things. Where is IG's lineup better? What's it better at? It's technically, it's not better at Roche, really. It's definitely not better at team fighting on average.
No problem. Come in. That's true, but Pioyo doesn't really seem to be too scared. As the static link is applied, he can just walk away. Time walk away, in fact.
PYW
is
soloing to him.
Crushing that PYW.
He is
and Drow in the meantime getting chased. Looks like he'll get surged to safety for now. As you see a Spirit Vessel being applied. There's a hook stomp that should be the demise of Mr. JT. Gets a vacuum off just before. At least they save the Drow, but I mean, that's barely a silver lining. That's more like a gray lining. Thanks for laughing at our terrible joke. I appreciate that.
You could have gone for a different, like, you could have gone for like a copper lining, bronze lining.
No,
silver is, you know.
Yeah, bronze. Yeah, bronze would have been better. That's true. Copper, bronze, herald, you know.
It's under attack.
Herald lining.
That's as bad as it gets, apparently.
Chad, if you're Herald, it's okay. We're not laughing at you. We're laughing at the joke itself. There's nothing wrong with not being good at the game. It's very hard.
The one thing I would say that IG maybe in theory has like really like Drow's just a good talent pusher, but then again, once TA gets this, he just pounds upon it as well. So I don't know. The draft is kind of weird.
And with the TA having the pike as well, you have the protection. Like, what is the one thing that IG can possibly do to win a fight? Deals based off of the clockwork, and you already have the solution.
The Doom onto JT, so no spells for you. He will likely fall here as Super does get off the cogs, the counter initiation. All right, they might go to the faceless. Whoa, a yo-yo.
Great
drop with the finger of death there. IG is just crumbling. 3 dead. They actually call it GG. They get 1 kill, and that's pretty much it. So a complete mega stomp for Vici Gaming.
I mean, you look at that fight, right? They got the perfect gust on Void. They didn't even get Chrono off. Yeah, Void got gusted, bursted, and killed, and they lost 5-1. Because TA and Doom were just running it over,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much I want to chalk this up to the draft, because I think it wasn't just that. I think bottom lane went exceptionally well for Vici with the heroes that they had. They just did a very, very good job at diving and putting all that pressure. The TA versus Razor matchup even ended up going TA's way because they had to help bottom. So a lot of what happened, if you think back on this game, kind of came back to how much they needed to assist bottom lane, right? Kaka on Lion and the Darkseer top by JT got 2 kills, if you remember. They got the double kill top lane. Then Lion pulls bottom, so Void is free to lane. And when Lion comes bottom, Razor has already gone bottom. It's like they've pulled all of their resources to help this bottom lane because they have to, and it's just way too expensive.
I mean, not only that, but they didn't really get much out of it either.
No,
like they never died. Like, yeah, they just it struggled from minute 1. It felt like.
I feel in hindsight, I think Lion has to go bottom level 3, and that's their best chance. I don't know if it's going to work, but it's better than this, right? Darkseer can hold his own somewhat against the Void AA top after his level 3. The mid lane, Razor wouldn't have had to leave. If Lion goes bottom, Razor stays, then he can win the lane against TA perhaps, or at least draw. And that way Lion could probably have helped bottom just as much as Razor did, and who knows. But yeah, they just got handled.
Vici Gaming up 1-0 in this 2-game series. They're still on top of the wild card right now. I don't know what the actual statistics are in terms of their chances if they win this next game, but you got to think it's quite good indeed.
I actually think they're through if they win.
Probably. We'll just assume that Cinderin is right because he usually is. We'll see what the panel has to say about Cinderin being correct or incorrect or somewhere in between.
I'm right.
Sind. Lol. I think he's right, though. I really do think he's right. I think they are through if they manage to win this one. But let's talk about how they got in the scenario in this first game. A lot of the pressure going to be in the bottom. So let's focus on the bottom, Jenkins.
Speaking of the bottom, I want to talk about something for a second here. NADPC, we had something very important to discuss here, Owie. I believe this was indeed a shellacking. I didn't want to bring it up at this major. I don't know why he's...
What just happened?
The camera was on you for a second there. Anyway, Owie, back to the end.
What level of shellacking was this, though?
If you had to put it on a shellacking tier, what would you say? Because this was...
I'm not quite sure what shellacking tier I put it on, but what would you put it on?
I would actually put this at a Gaben level.
A Gaben level shellacking.
I think this was a Gaben level shellacking.
This is a Gaben level shellacking.
That's the highest
chronospheres.
tier. That's the highest tier of shellacking.
What is shellac?
It's to dumpster, to decimate, to annihilate.
Is that a...
Vici Gaming's turn to pick.
Actually, don't know, but have you ever seen
Radiant team pick.
Vici play the Mars mid at all?
Let's see. Man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there you go. They actually stole the puck.
Oh, okay. Wow, cool. Interesting.
And I agree with what you're saying. Like, Invictus Gaming definitely needed something like a puck to deal with the heroes on Vici. So this puck pick by them is just straight stealing it. I also like how they didn't pick their support next. What often happens, you pick your offlaner support, you're like, okay, the natural progression is I'm going to pick my support. But to be honest, you're not going to get the core counter matchup anyways, because they're going to wait till 18 to pick theirs. So you might as well pick the core now. Maybe you see a support, and then your support counters their support. You get an extra counter pick that way. Of course, if their support like Lion counter picks your puck, it might feel a bit bad.
You get very sad, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they dealt with it last game though, right? This Lion as a pick.
Yeah.
So it's generally like my preferred picking pattern. Like, you know, core plus support first one, and your second phase you do core into support, and then you last pick another core. I think that's the most fluid or robust picking. That's second pick, of course.
So there's a ton of team fight from Vici Gaming, but I think they lack some physical damage. I mean, obviously their carry position is very likely to get picked. Let's see, what is there still that's decent against this sort of lineup? Ursa in particular, I think, needs to be solved. And they should go with the Willow. Damn, that is a lot of team fight.
Lot of team fight. And it's things to protect the egg as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, oh wow, actually that's a good point. So they can fear out of the puck coil, which will snap the coil. They can fear to protect the egg. They can fear into the Mars arena. It's like, I do not know how you ever fight Vici. Like, just send the Ursa as an offlaner, pick like a lifestealer or something like that.
Although, if you can't fight them, that should mean that you should go for something that picks off these heroes. So you've already got the line. If you play a bit split map, you get a bit more lane shove. Maybe you can play the pick off game,
avoid it,
and then you take an outnumbered team fight.
Yeah.
You get all these team fight spells, so if you don't have your heroes there, then you can get kited in the fights.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary, I feel like. Correct me if I'm wrong, to be playing the pickoff game, though, after you saw how coordinated Vici was in game number 1. What would you actually look for, though, to play that game?
Something that does other things other than that as well. I think something like a Slardar would work really well, because if they do get to the late game where the team fight isn't so overwhelming because it will fall off, it's magic. Okay, never mind, they just go with the Legion Commander. So there's the pick-off that we were looking for.
Yeah, I think pick-off, it comes in like, you need a few things to make pick-offs happen, because teams are really good at Dota right now. Like, just not dying casually. Like, you need some sort of lane shove mechanic, and then you need instant stuns and damage. Right now they have like the Lion and the Legion, which both provide you with those instant stuns. Lion does a bit of damage as well, and you have the Ursa for the quick damage. When you get pick-offs right now, teams play really tight. So if you don't kill a hero fast, his entire team's gonna come. And as we're talking about, like, I would not want to fight into that Vici lineup.
They don't really shove lanes that well, though.
They don't
These
yet,
are
though.
Kind of pathetic heroes that do it. I mean,
they definitely need a mid that does that. Like,
yeah, like Lina or something.
You're versus
like
Puck mid, so I don't think you want Lina versus Puck. I feel like she's very vulnerable to gank. That being said, like, one of the conditions for picking Lina is like their supports can't kill you mid. You have like these two sort of pathetic range heroes that you would put it. Yeah,
IG did play SF. But that's also a little weird, because to push the wave, you kind of have to show, and I think if you show for a fraction of a second, you can fairly easily die to like a Puck Mars.
Can you use Requiem a Puck phase shift? Do you know? Because you can use Requiem before you can morph Puck shift.
I tried it in a pub yesterday with Fogged and Lacoste. It did not work, and then they kicked me after the game. So I would say no.
Okay.
That's my expert opinion.
Yeah, I think I could actually see Shadow Fiend working. They need something to anchor their team fight, and they need something to shove waves. Because right now, like, at some point in Dota right now, like, you can't. Invoker would have been good. Like, you cannot win the game if you do not fight your opponent. At some point, you are going to have to group up and fight them.
Yeah.
Maybe you fight them by taking an outnumber fight, maybe you overwhelm them somewhere, but you are going to have to take a team fight.
Right. That's why I was thinking Slardar, because then the timing would be like, okay, sure, there's overwhelming team fights.
Oh, like sort of offlane, right?
Yeah, sort of offlane. But the Legion kind of
you
works.
Just play off the Roche.
You play off the Roshan, you play off the Aegis, you also play off the fact that, like, in the late game, Slardar plus Ursa just does so much damage that it doesn't matter how much overwhelming team fight you have, because they just shred one of your heroes before the fight even starts.
And I guess that's a counter to the overwhelming team fight. It's if you get the Aegis. The thing is, if you have drafts where you have really big spells, once the enemy team gets Aegis, you will have to spend all your big spells just to kill an Aegis.
Yeah, true.
So, like, that could be the great equalizer in this draft for team fight.
how do you think we're going to be rounding out
seconds remaining.
this draft? Any names jumping off the page for you for Vici or Invictus here?
I need to get a hero list. That's what I need to do.
Totally fair.
I'll
Totally
bring one
fair.
next time. Ooh.
I'm sure they're combing through it right now, trying to figure out how they want to close this one out. Keep in mind, for Vici Gaming, the stakes are very apparent. If they're able to win this one, they should be through.
What about Magnus?
10
That
seconds
just get
remaining.
banned? Oh, it did just get banned. Okay. That would have been sick, though.
Magnus for
5
Invictus.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, for IG.
That would have been really good.
I think that would...
He anchors a team fight. He shoves waves. He makes your Ursa into a wave shover. That would have been really good. They banned it.
Yeah, it's out. So...
Yeah.
And we do have the buffing hero of the Legion. Like, she's not as much of a damage buff, but she makes your carry very hard to kill in the late game, especially when Ursa gets that Aghanim shard. He's going to be a pain in the ass to kill.
But when they both have those shards, especially, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Can't get them. In my head, like, I want Vici to pick like a Juggernaut or something, but it's like it's not that good a Juggernaut game. Like against Ursa, Lion, and Legion with a cancel.
That's a ballsy Storm pick. They have the Legion to protect it, though, which is nice.
They do. Storm does the wave shove aspect, and he does contribute a lot to pick up, but he does not anchor a team fight.
Yeah.
10
I'm a bit
seconds
worried.
remaining.
Like they're. IG are pretty much
100% on the
all in.
pickoff.
They're
Yeah.
all in on this pickoff. Like
Yeah.
they need
5
to
seconds
outscale their
remaining.
opponents till their items give them the team fight that they need. Because
Yes.
like the other way you can beat team fights, like you just have more gold than your opponent, and when they cast their team fight spells, you just sustain through it.
And another problem is they don't really have any tower push, so there's not much to actually force. I mean, they don't have any. Let's just say,
Yeah,
like,
I guess for Vici, like I want to see that though. Like I want to see a Juggernaut. I was thinking like some Terrorblade type, but I don't want to play Terrorblade.
something to force IG. Okay, you have to fight us, or we're gonna win the game right now. Like you're going to have to come back.
So what is that for carries? Like Troll, Juggernaut.
Troll, yeah, Troll seems decent. It's a okay. They go.
They actually did go Terrorblade. I mean, I was gonna say I wouldn't want to play him against Lion, especially Kaka's Lion. It does become quite good versus Legion, and how Chinese teams play Terrorblade with all this team fights, it doesn't matter if Lion's like killing your illusions and hexing you. You're just gonna slap him and kill him.
Yeah.
Okay, so very clear how Vici wins this game. Now, you talk about going for the pickoffs on the side of IG, but what do you do if you're able to successfully get those pickoffs? Like, what does IG actually do to win
You need
the
to
game?
literally get a pickoff into a team fight into killing all 5 because they don't have great tower push. So you can't just get one pickoff and then go high ground. That's not going to
They
work.
can get Roshan though. They have Ursa
They can't
to
get
kill
Rosh,
it.
yeah, that's
so
true.
you can't get the objective. I think
So
IG
you try to snowball and like try to
think they
snowball
have
the
snowball.
try to snowball the Ursa. Really focus on the Roche timings.
Yes.
They still have this Warlock Golem. Like, if you hit your times correctly, you have a full Resource Storm and a Warlock Golem, you smoke to some tier 1 with a wagon timing, like, you can still open up the map. I think that's what IG should look to do. If they open up the map, then they can play this game. An open map means there's more room on the map to get pickoffs, and then you actually play your game plan.
Would you agree the game feels way easier to play for Vici, though?
Oh, way easier.
Like 75-25 or something?
Yeah,
for
I think
easiness?
in terms of draft, I think Vici's is just... I don't want to say easier to execute, it's just comfortable to play. Maybe that is ease of execution. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Cozy team fighting comp. Like it really, it seems like it is one of those compositions where the machine, all of the pieces are out there. You know what it does. You sit down and you just play Dota, and that's a pretty good situation to be in as well. When they know if they win this, they are going to be able to get out of the wild card. According to Cinderin, if it's wrong, Sind is wrong. Let's go over to Sind right now.
Fortunately, I'm never wrong. So, just to get that out of the way.
I feel like we're just continuing the conversation we ended with as well. This is it's come full circle, it feels like. We have Vici versus IG Sunsfan with Cinderin. Vici put on a real shellacking show as Jenkins. I was going to wait until Jenkins brought that up because I feel like me doing it, the creator of the word, as it were, Cinderin. It's a very popular word. It doesn't, it actually is the correct definition. It was a Gaben shellacking, though. Gaben is the highest tier for those that don't know, and then there's a bunch of tiers that I don't remember that I did create with Jenkins' help and expertise. But hopefully this one isn't shellacking because IG really needs this win. I think they have the most to gain going forward because Vici, even if they lose this, it's somewhat likely they're still top 2. Don't know the exact numbers, but IG, they played the least amount of games, I believe, any other team. So they're playing like 2 more after this.
Yeah, they only played 2 series yesterday. They went 1 win, 1 draw, and now they're obviously have a single game loss in this series. I think a lot of basically the main thing that I got from AUI and Jenkins here was you look at Vici's lineup. It's obviously insane team fight. It's very clear, and the way you combat this team fight by either trying to get pickoffs into taking a tower or Roche, or maybe entirely avoiding fighting, is the way IG probably needs to play this game. You know what it reminds me of? The game we just watched. Game number 1, where they also had weaker team fight and their lanes needed to go well. So based on that, I'm a little bit worried. Like, I think this time it's less likely that they flat out just get run over in the lanes, but there is still that writing on the wall that if they don't get ahead, Vici is going to show up with Metamorphosis and start hitting towers when this Terrorblade has a Manta plus Scotty maybe, and you will have to kill him. Surrounding cast backs each other up so powerfully that you're unlikely to just get a pick on the Phoenix, right? Or on the Dark Willow. They're protected by Puck, Mars, and your lineup's teamfight is literally Warlock. It's all you have. So you first pick this teamfight hero, but then because the enemy team one-upped you with Mars Phoenix, you kind of backed down on it and took a different path. And from my experience of playing Warlock, if I'm playing with a lineup that doesn't want to group up, I feel so unimpactful in a lot of the games. Like, it's literally what you do. You protect your lane, and then you're this big teamfight ult and Fatal Bonds. So once that kind of lineup gets forced in a direction where it doesn't really want to group up, I'm always going to be a bit concerned.
I think the biggest difference, though, between the lineups, I mean, first of all, Emo is playing Storm and not Razor. This is a hero that we've seen so many times. If they get off to a bad start, they can still snowball out of control. We've seen it so many times, historically speaking, throughout Dota. And then you have Ursa who can take Roche. So these are 2 major differences, I feel like, that even if they get off to a bad start, there's still some hope, as opposed to last lineup where, like, we literally cannot think of one thing they can do to get back in this game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There's more outs, so to speak. But like the panel pointed out, at some point you're going to have to take that team fight. And the question is, can you build the advantage that you need, either through optimization or through getting a pick off so you effectively turn into a 5v4. And Storm is obviously one of the great heroes at doing that, but he doesn't have the best targets here. So now I'm painting a little bit of a negative picture here for IG, but it's not because I don't see it. It's more because, again, like Jenkins and AUI agreed on, the comfort, right, of the subset of things that needs to happen is something IG need to be very, very proactive about and just play an excellent game, really. If both teams play stable and just play their best, I like Vici more.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, lack of team fight, but Legion Commander probably the most important hero for IG, I want to say. I mean, the press the attack, that's the literal reason you pick this hero for the most part. JT's press the attacks have to be god tier. You have Puck Coil you can get out of, you can get out of the Spear. As long as his positioning is decent, they have a get out of jail free card, at least on like the Ursa or the Storm if he gets in a precarious spot.
Yeah.
As you can see, Super has to Shadow Word himself.
He is actually in trouble.
Yeah, Bramble number 1 finds his way out of the maze, Cinder, but there's the Spear. Still healing up a decent amount, has the Fairy Fire, will be good to go, but that's still a lot of damage and a lot of investment into the region.
And something Warlock doesn't really handle very well is if the enemy heroes in lane can push you in, usually when Warlock thrives is when you cast Fatal Bonds offensively and you push the wave so you can pull. But Phoenix and Mars are very, very strong laners, and they're just fighting them. They're fighting them head on. And it makes Ursa feel very uncomfortable, because he wants to just take the CS, he wants to hit Mars here and there, but every time he goes for a creep next to Mars, he can get God's Rebuke into Brambles, Warlock has to heal him, and they're just draining them. They're draining their resources. They already forced out Super Salve. He's low on mana as well, as you can see. He has a second Salve, at the very least, but yeah, resources are definitely...
I mean, what do you think of the Orb of Venom on Flyfly? I know this is like pretty normal for an Ursa, but in a lane with Warlock, you don't really have a whole lot of follow-up when you're going for something like Mars.
I actually don't like it here. I agree very much with that. Like, if you had a different kind of lane that had more aggressive potential, so you could take the fight to the opponent, it's probably tempting to buy it because you're melee against melee, right? Like, you're just like, yeah, I'm Ursa, you're a melee, I'm gonna hit you. But looking at the bigger picture here, having this Orb of Venom, if you can't play aggressively, it's kind of dead gold, right? It's not going to stats, it's not going to regen, and you want the corrosion regardless. But in my personal opinion, Corrosion is not worth it if you don't use it very well for lane pressure. I just don't think the gold is well invested in that case. You get something else.
Yep, I agree. So we're looking at mid now, Ori versus Emo. Emo, of course, known for many heroes like this with the mobility and...
Yeah,
I mean,
plays all the spirits.
He's not a Razor player. When I think of Emo, it's not Razor, right?
Yeah.
Which, again, that's a whole different story here, but looking at the CS, very even so far.
It's actually kind of funny how Emo has had some really standout performances in this tournament. I think it's been Void Spirit and Ember Spirit for the most part, and then he had one game with Shadow Fiend that he died like 10 times. He was playing like he was Void Spirit, you know? Like, I play Spirit, so I can't die, but that's not really how Shadow Fiend works, but Storm is definitely right in his wheelhouse. He is not going to get this rune, by the way.
Yeah, he hasn't looted the orb.
Scary.
Oh, denies it. Okay.
Alright.
Well, nobody gets to go then.
Nice bit of a skillful exchange there.
Meanwhile, bottom lane. All right. I mean, you talked about this being a potential kill lane, and Fly
Yeah.
gonna get first blooded. I mean, you can't say this is too surprising. Mars just so strong.
Dire's middle tower is
It
under
felt like it was bound to happen, that there would be a kill down here on either the Ursa or the Warlock. The fact that it's the Ursa and that it's first blood is obviously worst case scenario for IG.
Right. We didn't really talk about Poyoyo's TB, but what are your thoughts on it this game? The panel kind of brought up the fact that...
or Overwhelm.
Yeah, overwhelming odds really good against TB once he gets his illusions up. And obviously Kaka's mana drain just decimates them. Does that really matter that much?
Grand scheme of things, not that much. What makes Lion good against Terrorblade is mainly Hex and Finger. Just having significant single target damage and an instant lockdown so Terrorblade can't get off BKB or get off Asunder is a really big part of it. As far as Terrorblade goes in this game, I think it's fine. I think it's a good matchup against Ursa. I will say it's good against Legion later in the game. You have so much armor and so much damage. Oh, yeah.
Boyle, PYW's made his way to the mid lane as well. Evo's just applying all the pressure. Nice phase shift, dodging that stun from Kaka. And they're going to take out two potentially with that Shadow Realm. Nicely done. And Vici just picking up where they left off last game. That was a close one though. That could have gone either way for sure.
Great phase shift from Ori. I don't know, I would say, I'm not sure what I would place his best hero on, but I do think it honestly might be Puck, where I'm like, this is Ori's single best hero if I had to pick one. He's had so many incredible performances in this hero. He was playing TA last game, so it's not like he can't play the carry heavy mids as well, but I always like seeing Ori on the int heroes like Leshrac, Puck, Zeus.
Curse Crown on the Ema, but he is level 6, so could zip away. Yep, he will do so. Trying to take out that courier. Nope, actually thinks twice about it. We'll have to go to the high ground. Finds a little stack here.
Get stuck.
That's fine. Just destroy the chicken, the wild wing chicken as I call it. Delicious.
Nuggets.
No, they're not fried.
No.
I mean, that's very important. I mean, maybe if you're playing like the Phoenix could fry them, I guess.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting change to the game, of course. Fly. Curse Crown applied. Rambles to follow. Old 11 possessed here. Not into a tree, but gets the view off. Yeah, they'll find it regardless. And yet another kill into Fly. So he's struggling a bit, but semi-expected. Now, the question is, do you still go for like a Diffusal Blade build this game, or do you go for more farm intensive, or is that too greedy?
I think the Ursa matchups in this game are so bad that Battle Fury isn't going to cut it. Like, what are you going to farm for? Are you farming to win late game against Terrorblade Phoenix as Ursa? I'm not feeling it. But at the same time, if the laning stage goes this badly, can you even play the aggressive build?
Right.
Like, are you just recovery mode for the next long time? To me, we're only 7 minutes in, but I just feel like Vici really has IG's number today so far. Like, both games have looked... it's 7 minutes, but it's a 2k gold lead. We saw the game earlier today between Secret and Execration, what a 2k gold lead can mean at this time in the game. And you factor in what the overall story is for this game with what we think will happen in 10 to 15 minutes. We wanted IG to win their lanes to have a good shot. They've lost all 3.
Yeah, so what you're saying is this has potential to be another shellacking.
It really does.
Okay, just double checking that.
We need, out of IG, the level 6s need to come into play. You need finger kills. Ideally, you want to kill the Terrorblade with a finger. And you need... I think it is possible to fight with Warlock in this game until all of Vici's heroes get, like, really strong. Like, if you find the right fight with maybe, say, Storm gets a single hero to start the fight, you jump that hero and kill it with Lion, and then Vici come in and help maybe the Golem. But do something good for them.
All right, look at the level discrepancy between Ursa and TB. 2 entire levels right now.
Yeah.
Terrorblade looking very, very good, going for... I mean, it's a very tanky build. I guess that's pretty typical from Terrorblades. Not probably turning that into a Hurricane Pike, I assume, just a Dragon Lance. We're going to see the duel. There's a zip in from Emo. Can they get this in time to get the duel damage? No, but they do find the kill regardless. So IG is on the board now, officially. Still down 2K, of course. And I mean, we talked about the recoverability, technically speaking, from IG's lineup. It's definitely better than last game. Is that, I mean, what changes here? Like, what do you need to do to get back into this game in terms of... Oh, the coil. Okay, that's the start. You make them miss their coil.
I told you. Ori is so good at puck.
Yeah.
It happens.
The cards, typical.
He missed them. See, that's the thing.
Blackfly dies again. Here's a Martyr. He just gets 6, so he does have Enrage now. Not sure they can actually finish him off. We'll see. Still has it available. But yeah, he's surrounded by both Super and Kaka, so it feels like Vici are just going to let him go.
That is a very fortunate level up. The only reason Old 11 didn't commit to that kill is that he saw the level up. Yeah. PYW kept hitting because he could, but Old 11 backed down. And I think they could have got that without the 6 on Ursa, but they force rotation.
I mean, that's, yeah, they force rotation. That's a lot of pressure applied to Ursa, who's still mega struggling. I mean, look at the net worth. He's basically average farm right now for any hero, which is not good for position 1.
Absolutely. He has the Ring of Health, so he's going probably Battle Fury. I don't know if you mentioned that, but...
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, you've never seen a Vanguard Ursa before?
I have. I have.
Have you?
Yep.
Is that an Overwatch case you
I think I had a teammate in a pub buy it because he died and was angry and didn't want to buy Battle Fury. I don't think he won with Vanguard.
Okay.
So,
yeah. I mean, that's a shock.
But I'm not sure. Is that an Overwatch case? Hero bought item. Report.
I mean, there are some items which I would, argue that are griefing, but maybe not that one. That one, at least, I mean, it's not usual, that's for sure. Yeah. If you rage buy it, like if you can prove that they rage bought it,
I don't know, I'm just thinking if you can get Overwatch cases for buying specific items, I think maybe that's why Slasher doesn't really play so much Dota anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
His build,
I mean, if Slacks was reported the other day for buying 5 different variations of boots, I think it would be...
did you report him in our party game?
I did not. I don't think you're allowed to report a party member, actually.
What if you kick him first?
I think you can't report a friend, actually.
What if you remove him from friends and kick him during the game?
Then yes.
All right, we'll do that next time.
Yeah, next time.
Remind me.
I'm sure he'll do it again, for sure. As we see a smoke here from Vici Gaming, looks like they'll find Super, who's not quite level 6 yet. So that'll be a relatively easy kill with that Sunray. By the way, have you seen the new shard from Phoenix?
Yes.
It's obviously the Sunray through the egg, which used to be a talent, but also the Sunray slows, which is kind of cool. I've yet to see it. It's only 12%, but...
It's a really good shard. It's one of the best in the game, in my opinion.
Cool. Yeah. We're going to get a... Tier 1 tower for Vici here.
The thing is, you might consider it a nerf because you're like, well, you used to get this for free, but you used to get it at level 20, right?
No, I didn't think it was... It's more they changed it from the Fire Spirits being a constant idea, right?
The old one wasn't very good. I think the old Phoenix Shard wasn't very strong, but then people were like, oh, is this a buff or a nerf? Because, you used to get it for free level 20, now you have to buy it if you want a Sunray. But the fact is, Phoenix doesn't really need many items as a support, so now you have the luxury of just getting level 4 Sunray and buying the Shardman at 20.
Right.
And if you're level 12, your Sunray egg combo is insane at that time in the game. So I personally think the fact that you can choose when to get it is a buff rather than getting it for free at level 20 every game.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, level 20 is not... You typically don't get that in a game of Dota for Phoenix, right? Well, unless you play with me and you get tier 5 items every single.
If you play with GH, generally has it at 18. But with other players...
Oh, we're going to expend both Coil and the Bramble with the Bedlam as well. So the Lion is going to take a number. He's going to get healed to the... He actually gets destroyed, so a nice rotation from IG. The Sunray coming in, though, with the egg. They're going to be able to take out the Lions with a 1-for-2 as JT barely living through this engagement. So, nice response from IG. All they lose is support.
Let's see if they can hold their tower. Warlock is still not level 6. Puyo is going to start knocking on the front door.
Now.
Regeneration.
He is not there, though. He's TPing in, and they will jump.
Emo. Okay, thinking about it. Up there in the arena, he's going to zip out, and they're going to get the Warlock instead, who they now know is level 6 and the tier 1 tower to boot. So, they get the tier 1 tower. They did lose puck at the beginning of that fight, but I mean, Vici still feel like they're in control.
I actually think if they would have jumped on the Turbo there, it would have been even worse. I don't think they had enough in the tank. Storm would have expended all his mana connecting there. He would have vortexed to run out of mana and just been killed. So, I believe, I mean, that could have been a call from Super, right? They know how important the mid tower is. I'm level 6, I'm going to TP, let's defend. Right. But there was just... Storm is a very unique hero in the way that his resource management works, right? It's obvious when you have a hero that spends so much mana. When Storm has a 3rd mana, it's like he's dead. right? In a moment like that, you can kind of count him as a dead hero.
Whoa.
So the plays didn't exist. I like this a lot, by the way.
I mean, obviously they have an Ursa, so they can do this. They just need a little bit of space. It looks like they'll get it. So, IG, despite being down, I was going to say 4K, but as I was speaking, went up to 5. They will get the first Roshan of the game.
When you are having a really, really hard time in the game, more often than not, the best thing to do is to take a risk.
And you get it on the best hero, which is Storm Spirit.
They desperately needed this. This was also what they were talking about in the panel. It's one of the only chances IG really has if things go awry in the beginning is to get this Aegis and get the man advantage. Now that you have a Storm with Aegis, there are some interesting openings, but unfortunately Ursa going to Battle Fury really fighting ready while this Aegis is in play. So he probably has to primarily
he probably
play...
just farms away while Storm gets some picks, right?
Right, but who's Storm picking with? Because I don't think he's going to find a lot of solo kills against this lineup. He's probably going to need one helper, especially considering he's not going Orchid. He has the Kaya build. Yeah. So who do you pair up with? Lion? I guess you do some double smokes, maybe try to find Terrorblade. You could find the Puck. It's clearly a very good Lion game in terms of Hex, so that is a possibility that they have. But yeah, they're still crippled by the way the lanes went. It's a big mountain to climb right now.
Indeed. Terrorblade did have the Dragonlance, was going towards an SNY. I do have a question about itemization on Terrorblade for you, because it feels like Aghanim Scepter is like you either buy it or you don't. Some games just feels game dependent. It's like this game with the Fear with Mars Arena, it just feels god tier.
It's very good, but I think you're hoping to get it from Roche, right?
I mean, that's the third, maybe the third Roche. That's.
I know, but that's kind of Terrorblade though, right? That's very Terrorbladey to plan for third Roche, if you think about it.
I guess so.
I don't know. I always like.
Old 11's gonna get initiated on by Emo, and Emo will immediately change his mind.
Oh, is there a coil? No. So. The thing about Terrorblade buying Ags is the stats are actually somewhat decent. You know, the hero likes getting the health. Oh, that's a dead line.
Yep, coil off the line. Oh, first the attack comes in, but not going to be enough to save his license. Now we're going to see the Chaotic Offering finally used for the first time by Mars Arena. On to 2. Super's going to take a tumble to start things out. JT should be fine, but already it's a 5v3 situation in favor of Vici Gaming. It looks like that'll end right there.
I love what Vici are doing. Like, they just know, okay, there's a dead hero in the game almost in this Ursa. He can't, his net worth is irrelevant right now. Right. He can't join fights. He has a Battle Fury treads. His team fight. In fact, he just doesn't want to come at all to these fights. So they're just forcing them. They forced out the Golem there. They got 2 kills. Great arena coming in from Old 11. That's that. They're going to get a bonus kill there.
Looks like JT's going to get picked off. Oh, there's going to be some TP support. There's a Terrorize to follow it up with. The right click should be enough for JT to go down. In fact, he will. But looks like they'll be able to get the turnaround kill onto the Terrorblade. So it's a 1-for-1 to start things out for View. Keeping 11 alive for now as Flyfly hits the egg. Can they kill it in time? It's going to be really low, but no, the egg goes off just at the last moment. And Ursa falls. Storm expends the Aegis. Should be able to get out of this. I don't know if they can Bramble. No, they actually do. First round to follow. And this will be a big kill for Vici Gaming if they can take him out, and indeed they will. So 4 for 2. Kaka has to just limp away to his base.
A little bit of miscommunication there from Vici, but they still got the kill. They pre-placed the Brambles on the Aegis spawn. Storm can't jump out of that, but they also silenced him instantly because they wanted to make sure he doesn't jump. So even without perfect layering, they still got the kill. Emo did get a ball lightning off, but mistimed it on the Cursed Crown and got stunned when he landed. So yeah, that was an avoidable death for Emo this time around. He was given an opportunity, but failed it. But it's still, like, Ursa actually showed up and got that kill on Terrorblade, but you just see he used that one enrage and then he's just there. Yep. He's just killing it instantly with all of their insane spell damage. Obviously playing with just a Battle Fury, he has no defensive item, no hood, no BKB. You die to Sunray, Bedlam,
It looks like
spells.
he will be going to BKB's second item.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of necessary. It's not what you typically would want to see.
Yeah, you want SNY, but you can't buy it here. You can't fight with SNY.
You might just lose the game by the time you get that. So. Yeah. Trying to wait for this. I don't know. Right now, if you're IG, we're going to see a potential pickup here. Old 11 gets the Mars Arena down. Sets it up with that Euless to start with. And this should be a relatively easy one.
Tanky.
It is, but they have many numbers here. Coil actually expended just for the Warlock. And Super, of course, no Chaotic Offering for another 20 seconds, and he is horribly outnumbered. And that's going to be a double kill for Ori.
I really love how Old 11 has played this game. I think he's This has been a standout performance from him. His arenas have been amazing. He played great in lane. He's finding these Yules where he gets the full time to wrap around and then spear them back into his team. I think that was the third time in a row that he's just successful with these kills.
Can I just say that Chinese, maybe it's every other region other than NA, are way better at Mars. NA is so bad at Mars that I've created like this disgust for the hero because they just lose horribly every time.
But only Mars.
Yeah, it's only Mars. Yeah. Every other hero, you know. I mean, the reason I mentioned Terrorblade Ag is because I actually see that in NA from time to time as a second item on TV, like relatively consistently. But we'll be going for the tankier build in the Scotty.
Yeah. So, like you said, the pairing with Arena is really cool, but the downside is, I think just having, if you think of how Vici Gaming's lineup works, right, they have this big combo, having as many stats as possible to just stand your ground, and Terrorblade needs to do this game is not die. There's such a strong cast around him that you agree you would get the axe for the offensive potentially, is to kill. Yeah, but they have Mars Arena.
Fly able to Earthshock out of the arena. They're going to surround him for now. They really need to take. There's the chaotic offering. They try to counter-initiate onto 2. There's the coil onto 3 into the terrorize. Triple stun, but they can't follow it up with anything. And Phoenix is back with that Sunray. Silence right now onto the cursed ground. Emo able to take it off though. Zip away. Chaotic offering is used, so perhaps Vici Gaming can just reset. Knowing that big cooldown is down.
Yep.
I mean, the fact that I mentioned the Ags on the TB, they already have a fear, obviously, in Terrorize. So maybe, if they didn't have Dark Willow, maybe they would have gone for it.
No, it would still be good. Like
the double fear.
It's not a bad purchase. It's just if the fight happens in a way so that Terrorblade doesn't die, the supporting cast around him is so strong that he's going to win based off stats alone. So if you stay alive, you're going to win. And obviously, Scotty, the best choice for that right now.
Yep, there's a Yule setup again from 11, but there's a nice hex from Kaka, potentially saving JT into the Impale.
Oh, they used Meta too.
Yep, they really want to get something out of this. Doesn't look like we'll get anything, but maybe the tower, if nothing else. Do we know if LC is going for Shard? I feel like that is a must-have this game, for sure.
I don't even think we need to check that. Of course he's buying Shard.
Well, but is he getting something first? I don't know. But JT, see how much money he has in a minute. But Yules into the arena to start things out. 2 stuck inside for IG, and yeah, they're going to be able to blow up the Lions very easily. And of course, with no chaotic offering from Super, you can only watch in shame. Shame.
Old 11 is just such an interesting player. I feel like
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
He has some games where he's just like the best player in the world, and there are like historically he has been a really hot player, right? Where he just has his moments where he's like, you know, this guy is just winning every game.
Yep.
And then there are other games where like, what is he doing? I think in this tournament so far, 11 has been pretty damn consistent. He's had a lot of great performances, so he seems very hot.
Radiant's middle barracks are under attack.
But yeah, it's always fun to watch these players that are hot and cold. It's very entertaining because whichever version you get, it's awesome, right?
You're saying he's the Chinese Eternal Envy?
In a way.
I mean, Envy feels like a true 50-50.
Yeah.
I feel like Old 11's a more consistent.
But I think the way they're hot and cold is also different.
In what way exactly? One's a meme, one is... Please explain what you mean, sir.
Regeneration!
So, I think usually a lot of the times when Envy gets these like moments where what is he doing, a lot of the times it's because of itemization, right? Where it's like he has a totally different view and idea of the game. Whereas Old 11, some games his spellcasting and historically his spellcasting has just been like, there's been games where it felt like, okay, his mouse is clogged, right? And then there's other games where he has a mouse from 2050 and
his mouse is clogged. I don't think I've ever heard that reference before. Clogged.
Yeah, it's where you have so many hairs stuck in the laser that it. You know.
Right. No, I understand what I feel like clogged isn't the right word. That's more for a drain.
Yeah.
Maybe the panel can help illustrate what we're trying to say here.
I'm sure Rich has a great visual for this after the game. Don't worry.
That's true.
But yeah, I love watching Old 11. That's all I can say. Like,
thanks for summing it up.
When
really appreciate it.
When he's playing his best, it's a true treat. So there's, I guess there's one other parallel I can draw that might shed some more light on it. There's in CIS, Iceberg has historically been an incredible laner, right? He's always been really, really mechanically skilled in lane, but then he's had these moments in mid-game in the past where just like Iceberg is just throwing, right? Like he's just diving 1v4, being super overconfident, making big mistakes. He kind of tamed that beast lately. I feel the same way about Over 11 so far in this tournament, where those like glaring mistakes just haven't really been there. It's just very, very stable, great spellcasting, itemization, good decision making. So big fan of the guy when he's showing up like this.
That's great to hear, Cinder.
Yeah, there you go.
Vici Gaming looking primed and ready.
Yeah,
to take this 2-0 in both shellacking.
I mean, it's hard not to praise a team that's playing like this, right?
And they're playing great.
The guy that's enabling it, you know, there's not much to talk about. It's just owning.
I believe FlyFly has a Vici Gaming supporter pack enabled as well.
Yeah,
which is quite odd. Playing the opponent.
He is. He knows
trying out.
He knows what's coming.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
He's ready to support Vici in the group stage.
Yeah, that might be the case. I mean, again, we talked about it before, but IG still has plenty of games to play to actually reverse their standings, I guess you could call it, since they've played the least amount of games overall. They have the most to gain for sure.
So it's probably going to be high ground high ground time. Wow, that's a tongue twister somehow. High ground time. Very soon for Vici. They looked for a moment like they were considering defending bot tier 1, but it was a bit too late. Like they were kind of facing like, should we TP or not? They give it up. They control the triangle. They're preparing for Roche. They're spawning in 10 seconds. And this should be an easy grab. Probably going to see the shard go toward, I want to say Phoenix, if he hasn't bought it already. Which he hasn't. Might as well get it for
You
free.
don't like the shard for the old Terror Blade?
I forgot what it does.
It's a weird one. I forget the name of it. It's it allows you to do more damage. Yeah, there we go. Demon Zeal during the melee.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird though.
Yeah, give it to Phoenix. That's weird.
What about Pucks? Pucks isn't bad.
Pucks is good too. But they already have, like you said, they already have the fears, right? They have enough.
You know who I think has the best shard? BKB reveal. Chaotic offering as well. BK. He's going to be pretty low on the Terror Blade. Can they save him? He does have Sunder. Actually use it right. There's the egg into the Mars Arena. The wombo combo for Vici Gaming is real. Terror Blade able to survive through that, and that's all that matters. They didn't even wait for the Aegis to go down.
He snatched it,
but they called GG before, so it doesn't count, Cinderin. As Vici Gaming will take this in 2-0 shellacking favor. My goodness.
Yeah.
They destroyed IG.
I really like what IG were doing though, right? They get the Storm BKB. They're like, this is our one chance. We're going all in. I'm jumping in. We're trying to kill Terrorblade. We drop everything. He had enough stats. He got protected, didn't die. He even got a half Sunder off. It wasn't very good. He healed like 200 from Sundering the puck, but it was enough. The Mars Arena into Terrorize combo, beautifully done, and that's the end of that game, man. If Vici plays like this every game, they look scary. Because we're obviously only seeing the wild cards, right? And you might think going into this tournament, yeah, the wild card teams are probably going to be the weaker teams, you know, historically. They go into the group stage. It's harder, you know, they've had a lower placing. This is a team that can get top 3. The way they're playing right now. Vici are playing really, really
well, I mean, a lot of these regions, they're so close. They're so competitive. Like, sometimes the difference between a wild card and the group stage is like one game, literally. So... Yeah. And a lot can change between, you know, the actual DPC season and the major itself. But yeah, you're right. Vici, that's their last game, I believe, and they look really strong in this one.
They should more or less be settled for top 2.
Say it again?
They should more or less be settled for top 2.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what the panel has to say about this level of shellacking. I have that Gabe Newell might make an appearance as well.
To unclog.